Hello and welcome to the In the Money Media Network. Whether you're listening wherever you get your podcasts, In the Money Players podcast, or watching on the In the Money Media YouTube channel, I welcome you. Peter Thomas Fornatale back with you in the Brooklyn bunker once again. Very happy to have a guest who's been, we've been hearing a lot from him lately on the In the Money Media Network. He was very recently, just this week, a guest on JK Plus One. You're going to want to check that out. Even more than that, you're going to want to check out his website, dukespicks.com. In fact, he has a live stream happening Friday night, 7:15 Eastern, covering Rebel Stakes Day, which you're definitely going to want to see. Interesting card there for sure. Great to have racing on a Sunday this time of year without the attended NFL conflicts. Sign up for dukespicks.com. You get a ton of great info. We'll talk to him a little bit about that. But first and foremost, I should throw in the fact that you get a discount too over at dukespicks.com if you use the promo code ITM10. But first and foremost, how are things going, Duke? What's the latest?
Everything's pretty good. The JK Plus One was pretty good. 5 years and change went by, so it's hard to remember what we said 5 years ago. But he's he does such a good job with that, and the stories were good, and we also try to do a little teaching in there too. So.
Right. Well, that's one of the big things that Duke's Picks is all about. This is not a tout service. This is an educational tool. Yes, you're going to see picks for races. You're going to get real-time updates. But I think some of the real value of it is just being able to interact with you, to ask questions. I mean, you can't help but learn something as a player. I mean, I know I've learned so much from you over the years, and I was very excited and glad to be able to be a part in a small way. I'll be hosting that live stream on Friday night, but I know you're really enjoying the teaching aspect, so it doesn't surprise me that you and JK got into that a little bit.
Yeah, it was good. I am enjoying the teaching. The teaching is the best part of it. We're finagling things here and there, and we're making it better as best we can, and people are learning, people are enjoying the site. So hopefully we get a few more. Come join the live stream. You guys will enjoy it.
Give a little bit of an overview. So you have your featured track, Santa Anita, where you're posting thoughts all the time. And then you have added content around the biggest days. What else do people need to know about it? Again, the access in and of itself is a huge part of it. But I definitely want to make sure we let people know what they're getting into. Obviously, you can go over there and get tons of info, but this might be a good opportunity to do a little bit of that.
Yeah. So the featured track is Santa Anita currently. It's going to be Aqueduct in March, and then it's going to be Keeneland in April, and it's going to be Churchill in May. And then move on to Saratoga once that starts. It'll definitely be the featured track of the summer. So the featured track is they get basically, if I handicap that whole card, whatever I think, whatever insights I can give based on hot trainers, bias, track trends, anything of that sort, I'm putting up there. There is another feature where I just do, it's completely separate. It's where I do the best bet and the best bet against for the weekend. And I try to put up multiples. So far, I've put up 7 horses or so to play against. None of them have won, which is great. And they've all been sort of favored.
Yeah,
that's been good. The best bets have been pretty good. I think 3 out of 5 have won. So 1 ran second. So that's been good. And that's a lot more, it's a lot easier. It's a lot less money. It's, it's like $50, to do that. And it's like $100 for the featured track. And then the VIP, you get everything. If you sign up for VIP, you get it all. You get the classes, the live streams. And I'm doing 3 or 4 live streams in the next month. So, which I hope you will host them all. I haven't told you that yet, but I hope you will. But we're going to do, obviously we're doing the one tomorrow, Friday, and on the big day at Oaklawn and Rebel Day. So, I mean, there's lots on there. You can, once you become VIP, you're golden. You get everything. So, if you don't want to go that far, do the featured track. The featured track's great. And you get my insight for the rest of this month on Santa Anita, and next month it'll be Aqueduct. And we've had such, good bias stuff at Aqueduct lately.
Right.
I think people will really just get enough out of that,
Yeah, I was noticing that doing my first look through the Gotham Day card. There are a lot of horses that are either maybe a little bit puffed up because they were riding the
Yep.
grain of that track, or maybe some that were coming wide and you can upgrade significantly. And am I right when a bias is as strong as it's been at Aqueduct that you can really, like, a horse can conceivably run not just a few points higher, but 10 or 20 points higher, or
Oh yeah.
underperform by the same when it's that. I mean, these are like old school biases that I feel like we haven't seen in a few years. Am I wrong about that?
No, I think you're dead on. This has been the strongest bias I've seen it at pretty much any track in the last couple of years, and it went for almost 2 weeks.
Right.
So there's going to be horses that are going to be so inflated, and there's going to be horses that people are just not going to understand why their form reversed,
Right.
and that's the key. I mean, that's what you want. You want to bet against the ones that were with the track, and you want to bet on the ones that were against. Hopefully, if they fit, decent in the race.
You can do that work yourself and go back and look at replays, or you can pay Duke to do the work for you.
Yeah, for
Duke's
sure.
Picks.
I'm going to do it anyway.
All right, let's talk about some of this racing at Gulfstream on Saturday. There's a few races I want to bring up that we're not necessarily going to give a pick in or anything like that, but just some interesting horses, maybe more for the course of the year as opposed to just on Saturday. But in the Gulfstream Park Mile, race 7, grade 3, return to the races of Knightsbridge. Brian Nadeau not messing around, made him 1-5 on the morning line. Can he be beat, or is this really just a race to watch rather than to bet?
It's probably a watch race. Knightsbridge was super impressive last time. Put away, I forget the name of that Pletcher horse that he just dueled with and just drew off. He was super impressive. The figure didn't come up that good, but I think internally that figure was huge. In around the 7 furlong mark, I would guess that was in the high hundreds at that point, and then he just kind of probably coasted in a little bit. Mika would be the interesting horse if anybody could beat Knightsbridge. Mika ran in the Pegasus and didn't really get any kind of a ride. Was like chasing 4 or 5 wide, and maybe just the cut back to the mile. Maybe Mika will be competitive in here. I think that's probably the 2 horses that fit that race. But Knightsbridge is a great horse to look for in the future.
Life and Times was the horse that he
Life and
knocked heads with and defeated that day. He hasn't been seen since. They've obviously decided to go in a different direction rather than knocking heads with that rival again, presumably. But we'll see what happens. I mean, very talented horse. He'd run 100 buyer figures in his first 2 starts before Knightsbridge put the sword to him last time. And what was that? The Hooper.
He did too. That was impressive.
Another interesting horse, maybe more for the future than today, though I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we do have in race number 8, Burnham Square making his return to the races. Last seen running really well at Kentucky Downs in that very valuable, what was that race called? It was the
Nashville,
giant, the Nashville Derby. That's it. Yes. With its ginormous purse. Given how well we know he does going longer, and the fact that this is an allowance race and that Ian Wilkes is calling the shots, I'm assuming this is a stepping stone to other things. But would he be a horse? I don't know how closely you've looked at it, but see a horse you'd have on your tickets, one you might try to beat, or again, more of a watch?
Probably depends on the odds. If they do go after him, he's probably, like you said, Wilkes is not one to crank him up. Probably a little too short a distance for this kind of horse. So yeah, you might take a shot against him if they make him favored in here. I haven't really looked closely enough to see who you would go with. Generally this turf course, though, you want to be up close and inside. So look for a horse in that race, maybe, up towards the front end, something like maybe Tenacious Leader.
When you said that, came right to mind. He's got some decent pace figures and being drawn inside might be one you could take a little bit of a shot with. It's Brian made him 5-1 on the morning line, but this is a 4-1 the favorite kind of race, which I think is the morning line odds maker Brian Nadeau, our friend, understandably throwing up his hands and saying, I don't know who they're going to bet. So
Yeah, wide open race. Can't blame him there.
we'll have to see. Yes, no cowardice in that at all. Just
Yeah.
giving you good information you can use. Let's proceed to race number 9. This is one you mentioned off air. You liked something.
Yeah, I like Chow Chuck a little bit here. If you guys remember the Pegasus Day, the 2 poly races that day went wire to wire on the inside, and the horse that did that is in here. Prevent went wire to wire that day. I think that's a rare poly bias. I don't usually get poly biases, but Chow Chuck was wide that day and really ran a good fourth, and he gets Pratt, so might take a little too much money, but on the other hand, I think he's a really good bet in here.
All right, great stuff. All right, we'll take a look at Chow Chuck in the 9th, and now we'll kick off this all stakes pick 5 bet I'm excited about getting involved in. Race number 10 also kicks off that $3 tropical turf pick 3. That's a bet I know you're a big fan of, Duke, as well. And then you got the 50-cent pick 5 that starts here. It starts off with the very one grade 3 action going 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf. I'm going to start this discussion by sharing a stat with you, a stat which I've ignored because the trainer that this stat is a knock on, I still think I have to include one of his horses in here. But I did pull from Formulator, Duke, that Safi Joseph in the last 5 years, 4 for 80 at 10 furlongs and farther on turf. Isn't that crazy? I mean,
4 for 80?
4 for 80. And this is the guy who wins it, wins so much. I still want to use Dona Clota. Speed, both U.S. starts have been short of what I'm guessing her best distance is, but I'm certainly not going to stand alone based on that stat. What do you think about the very one?
That's interesting, and I was going to tell you that I like Venencia.
There you go.
So I thought Venencia ran a sneaky good race last time, but wow, that's some stat. That's unbelievable, really, for a guy that's probably 20% on everything or more.
She did run well, though. I mean, there was no pace in there. She was closing. I still look. I still think you have to, even with a stat like that, you still, when the horses make as much sense as these, don't you still kind of have to use them? But maybe you don't bet as much. Maybe you include a few more. I mean, that's I don't take these as like dogma doctrine. Oh, there's a bad stat, I can't use the horse. I'm not going to be a hero and then have a logical horse beat me. But it certainly gives pause.
Yeah, I mean, when a trainer's not good at something, I mean, you gotta take that in consideration. That's a huge one when he's 4 for 80 and he's usually 4 for 10.
Right.
I mean,
typically at Gulfstream,
if it was a maiden claiming race, first time starter, he's probably 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So, it's like that's crazy. But Venencia, I thought, was the horse to beat off the last, no pace, like you said, and wide trip, a little bit of a wide trip, was gaining at the end. I thought was doing the best running at the end at that race. So that was my top choice. I thought this race was a spread. If you're playing pick 5s and pick 3s, I would use Candy Quest, who's a horse that was in a slow pace last time and, gets IRAD today. I mean, he's going to be over bet, but definitely I had to throw it in there somewhere. Dona Clota, you mentioned, I think you have to use somewhere. And I don't know about no-show Sammy Joe, but what a weird ride last time. Kind of try to make that what I call blow pop. He burst him down the backstretch into the far turn. I don't like that move in America. It works in other countries, but doesn't seem to work around here. I don't think our jockeys are good enough at it. So that horse I think is going to go back to last and make one run this time. So probably not the winning type, but be a B type horse.
Yeah, I was going to use no-show Sammy Joe as well, just based on the good late kick, the strong form at 11 furlongs, the blood, the connections, those things. Explain the blow pop, because you've explained it to me before, and now I'm forgetting what the visual exactly.
We call it blow pop. Like it's like the horse is sitting back and the pace is slow, and he like just makes a huge brush. Like it'd be a harness brush, when they brush the field on the backstretch,
yes.
That kind of thing. He tried to brush the field. So I don't know. Didn't like the idea. Don't like it again. I don't think they'll try it again. I think they'll just try to make a later run, which doesn't work that great at Gulfstream. So
right. Might be
That's,
damned if you do, damned if you don't with that one. And at
yeah.
9, and that horse is Brian has at 9-5, which I put
Yeah,
that
I'm
horse
not.
in my picks before seeing that price. If he's right, there's probably more exciting ways to go.
Yeah, I'm not in love with 9-5 on that. I like Venencia more than her that anyway. So
All right, let's proceed to the 3-year-old fillies in the Devona Dale. We're going a mile here in this race where we don't have that much form to pick through. I thought you needed to spread a little bit. I'm gonna give you this one to answer first before I get into it. What did you think of this race?
this is a tough race because the two horses I like are stretching out, and I don't like doing that. I don't like playing only 2 6 furlong horses that are going to a mile.
Mm-hmm.
But I did think the Omaha Bay race was a really, really good race, and the way Swing Vote came back and won out of that race makes me think those two fillies are really nice. But again, it's hard to
Hard to
use
stand
just two
alone.
of those.
Yep.
And I couldn't come up with the other one. I couldn't come up with the horse that's proven a mile that I liked the most. So this race gave me fits.
Yeah. Me too.
It's like I wanted to have at least one more. Maybe She Be Smooth would be the one, I think. The Pletcher horse. Um, the pace was slow and it still won.
Yep.
We got it running a 78, which is definitely decent enough. Somebody came back and won out of that race already. They're 1-for-1 and increased their figure by 8 points. So I think that would be the other one I would use. So I'm kind of limited to 4, 7, 8 in the pick 5, but not a really great betting race.
Those were
Unless
my
you're gonna,
my same opinions.
yeah, unless you're gonna stick your neck out for the 4 that beat the 7, but and it's Wilk's second time out too, so should improve too.
You would think. The only other number I had written down was the 3 Paradise, who I thought has run okay in both starts. Looks to have been working well and steadily. And just as I tried to do as you taught me and picture how this race is going to be run in my brain, I was seeing this horse who does have that win at a mile, maybe just getting in the right kind of spot behind those stretch outs and just tripping out beautifully. So
Yeah, I wouldn't talk anybody off anything here if they wanted to throw it in because they don't have to improve much. If these 2 6 furlong horses don't show up, if they can't get the mile, you probably only have to run an 80 figure to win this race, and a lot of these horses I think can.
Yeah.
That's why it makes it a tough race.
It's tricky. 4, 7, 8 for Duke. I'll throw in the 3 as well. Let's get to the hinge of this all stakes late pick 5, the grade 3 Honey Fox. We stay on with the fillies and mares, 4 and up this time though, and we're moving to the turf. Duke, we'll keep it with you.
Another race I had a little bit of a tough time with because of post positions. As you know, the Gulfstream turf course, you don't want to take 8s, 9s, and 10s on your ticket too many times. But I'm kind of married to the 8 Public Defender who had. I would put this up against any ride in the history of racing. This was maybe the worst I've ever seen.
Oh my goodness.
Ever. I'm talking like if you want to go watch a tape of a race, watch that race on Public Defender last time and ask me what that guy was trying to do if he was trying to win that race. Because he couldn't win that race if it was Secretariat, the way he rode that horse. It was that bad. And the race before it, the horse ran third, at Gulfstream, closing, finished well that day. I just think this horse is going to get overlooked a little bit. Dylan Davis returning too.
Yep.
Interesting. Any rider from who rode him last time is an improvement, and Dylan Davis is a good rider. So Dylan won't ride her like that. So Lush Lips is the obvious. Lush Lips is coming off a layoff. It doesn't seem like layoffs bother these guys anymore these days, and this horse has got tactical speed. I have to use her. I wanted to use Creval de Oro, the 10, but that's a tough post. She ran good last time, gets IRAD, which could make her over bet. But those were the 3 I came up with, and I hate to say I like 8, 9s, and 10s.
Right.
In the turf race. That's the hard part.
It's tough. I thought the 6 moving on up might be able to get a really nice trip. Just a horse that has a blend of speed and stamina in a race where, like you said, the key contenders, I mean, my other numbers were 9 and 10, could just end up in the parking lot. Can you make moving on up at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. Moving on up, comes out of the Pegasus, ran third. Got tactical speed. You know what's weird about why I kind of left her out? Luis Saez is on this awful streak. Like, this guy seems like he's lost his way. I don't know what's going on with him. I thought it was a weird rider choice too for Safi. Why pick Luis Saez?
That is interesting.
Doesn't seem like his kind of guy, right? He put Pratt on the other one, which if you think Pratt had his choice, you'd think he would have taken the 6 over the 1, wouldn't you?
Just on form, yeah. Unless there's some, it's one of these things. This game gets so tricky trying to figure out what means something and what doesn't, and then sometimes you hear these stories about, well, they committed early and he had the call and he couldn't get out of the call, and it's I try.
Yeah, the jockey thing is tough. It's tough to base it on that, but I don't know. I mean, the 1 could get a good trip. I just don't think the 1's classy enough to beat this kind of field.
Right. Just knocking heads in allowance races. Has won 3 in a row, though. I mean, not the worst idea for a backup anyway. 15 to 1 on the morning line. Probably going to be shorter than that with Safi and Pratt there. Not to knock Brian. It's an impossible, thankless job making morning lines. But, that
never want to do that job.
Yeah, that's a horse that's very interesting, too potentially. So speaking of, I should point out that there is an audio show in the Money Players podcast, the whole card, Brian going through it with Nick Tamaro. So they did a great job on this very day last year, and unsolicited came back to me and said, hey, can we do that again? I said, are you kidding me?
Perfect.
Can you do it again? I'm desperate for you to do it again.
Nice.
So folks can check that out. Lots of other good content happening on the network as well, including that JK+1 with Duke. I think somebody could option the first Duke Matties on JK+1 as a film. And I'm not even really joking. Do you think you could make a movie out of those days in Vegas when you guys first went out there?
I'm not sure I could do it, but, but maybe you can.
Who's going to play Duke Matties in the movie, though? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. It would God bless him.
All right, let's keep going here. We'll move on to the McDermott, race number 13. We have a 1 3/8 miles contest here, going this grade 2 level. And I'll go first in this one because there's a horse that I really like. I was really intrigued last time by this horse Without for Graham Motion. And the obvious question was, how ready is this one going to be coming off the bench in an allowance race? And he ran really well, I thought. We were talking about the difficulty of these outside posts. He got in a decent spot, but still lost some ground. But this is just a horse I feel like almost has to move up and almost has to be a price. Brian did put the horse at 8 to 1. I was sort of hoping for double digits, but I don't know. I thought Without made a lot of sense to move up second start off the layoff for Graham Motion. Are you seeing that one?
Draws good, got good tactical speed. If it moves forward, which he probably needs to move a little forward, but
for sure he does.
Going 1 3/8 miles. Figures, I don't put too much into figures. I'm going 1 3/8 miles. It's more about the trips, more about horses that can get the distance. I thought Layabout was super impressive last time. He's the controversial horse. This is the horse that I think people got in a fight about on X, which always happens.
I must have muted the people involved, or I just missed that day. What was the controversy?
The controversy was something to do with Andy saying something about blinkers, and the horse wore a weird one-eyed screen or something. I don't know.
That didn't quite qualify or something to be listed as a blinker. Yeah, that is weird that they do that.
Something to do with the what's her name? The Beyond Cone's daughter.
Andy.
Yeah, Andy Beyond Cone's daughter mentioned something about, I don't know. Maybe she said the wrong words and Andy got upset about it. And then he got into it, and it was just. But I tell you, the horse was super impressive. I mean, he took on almost the whole field and just kept running. I mean, they're going to have to come get him. Again, I don't see too much to run with him in here. I mean, maybe Tank. That would probably be the one. Tank might go. But I got to use Layabout. Without would be like a B type horse for me. Grand Sonata would be a B type horse off the layoff. I'm not sure you can win a mile and 3/8 first time off the layoff. He's definitely talented enough, but I'm probably going to pass on him. Padiddle, I thought, ran well behind Layabout, was gaining ground in that race, even though there was some pace in that race. But he'd be a B type horse. I'm sticking with Layabout.
Gonna lay about and then maybe backing up with the 2, the 8, maybe the 5. I do like Grant Sonata. I had him listed in my picks just because about two things. One, looked like the one to benefit if they go too fast, and then the other I just felt like that was an early move last time, and he's probably just a little better than that. 3-1 on the morning line, not exactly some great value, but and Pletcher not running the best at Gulfstream.
Pletcher's having a bad Florida, which is very unusual.
You never say.
No. I mean, when's the last time he had a bad winter? I mean,
weird.
It doesn't make any sense, really.
I don't think I want to lose to that horse in the picks, at least as a backup. Might want to throw that one in. But yeah, Layabout could just blitz him. I was thinking Echo Lane, just on I don't know how it looks on how he looks on your pace figures, but has some pace figures and just nature of the beast being drawn at the rail. I thought they could send him. I don't know if he's good enough to trouble the Layabout if Layabout runs his race, but it was enough to make me think that maybe a Grand Sonata could get involved. And then I've got my little pet angle on and my note on Without. So we'll see what happens there. In the
I was thinking of using Echo Lane underneath. I was 3 with 1, 2, 5, 8. I just didn't think Echo Lane.
Interesting.
I didn't think Echo Lane was good enough to win it, but you never know in these races.
He could hang for a piece.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Stretching out to a lot longer distance, you just don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, on Blood, right? Mineshaft, Treasure Beach, they could stay. And Crichton certainly wins a lot of races down there, and 20-1 on the morning line. You don't have to twist my arm to get me to include that one. Let's proceed. You got anything else on that, or should we proceed?
No, that's it.
Let's talk about the race that gives the day its name, the Fountain of Youth. Going to have another show we're going to have Randy Moss and Jerry Bailey stop by to give their thoughts on this one. Plug the NBC coverage, as we like to do. But I'm very interested, Duke, to know what you think about this one. Couple of horses that are very interesting. Sounds like Bravaro will go here, is cross-entered in the Rebel on Sunday. Maybe the horse to start the conversation with is Napoleon Solo, just because another angle you taught me about many moons ago. If they can run a 95 in October of their 2-year-old year, what figure are they supposed to run, as we approach March 1st of their 3-year-old year? What do you make of Napoleon Solo?
He's supposed to break 100 if he's what they think he is. I didn't love his workouts.
Interesting.
They were okay. I thought the mate that he worked with on February 13th was kind of terrible, which, I mean, he wasn't terrible, but the mate was terrible. So he beat him rather easily, which you would expect, but he didn't put up the horse didn't put up any fight. And the horse looked like he was kind of almost something was wrong. So I don't like when horses work with bad mates. But on the other hand, the form, like you said, 95 in the Champagne translates to well over 100 as a 3-year-old. So he's definitely the horse to beat. Chad Summers is on a roll. I don't know how, but he's turned his life around. Like, that guy was a throwout, I think, 2 years ago.
Starting at Saratoga last year, maybe a little bit before, he's been winning races and winning them in bunches.
Yeah, he just keeps on rolling. I mean, everywhere he goes. So he's figured it out. If this horse is as good as, he was last year, he's going to win. Nobody in here, I don't think, can run 100. I think Commandment, is the one that maybe could improve. I liked Commandment's race last time. I thought he was super impressive. The problem with that race is nobody's run well out of it.
It was against trees is my fear.
It scares me that nobody's run good out of it. It is Brad Cox, IRAD. Should get a good trip, too. I mean, he's got tactical speed. He should lay in behind the speed. Jackson Hole, I think, is okay, but I don't know. He didn't really beat anything at Fairgrounds, and then to go up against these. And he even lost his workout against Class President last time by, like a half length, which is not a good sign, even though Class President's a nice horse, runs close to 90 speed figure. But again, Todd Pletcher not going well at Gulfstream. I can't pick him from the 1 hole. And Chief Wallaby, I think, is the the horse you gotta think he's got to be the horse you got to think it's going to go forward. Bill Mott, 1 of 7 furlong race, first time out, looked like he had more. Impressed, got a 92 buyer. Again, nobody's run good out of that race. That's where everything comes back to Napoleon Solo, because Commandment's race has been negative, Chief Wallaby's race has been negative, and Jackson Hole kind of lost the workout. I don't like that, Pletcher being cold, so I keep coming back to Napoleon Solo.
Yeah, I guess the Puma did run third in the Sam Davis, at least out of the Wallaby race. Like, maybe for me, that was good enough to just say, hey, the other angle here is because it's Mott first out and it's 7. It's another one of these angles, like I was talking about with the motion horse without before. I almost have to go forward. I mean, he's just so conservative, Mott. I mean, famously,
yeah,
not running Sovereignty in the Preakness is about as conservative.
Don't remind me. Yeah. You may not run ever again.
I didn't mean to trigger you. I didn't mean to trigger you there, Duke, by bringing that up. But
when's he going to run that horse? He was supposed to win the Dubai World Cup. That was the goal.
No, they did say it was feeling like a bad announcement, not bad announcement, but a retirement announcement was coming. And then I did hear something that pointing to a spring, not saying spring campaign, pointing to summer. I don't know. We'll get the scoop on that on another podcast. But I mean, for a guy who looks for excuses not to do things that are aggressive,
right?
He's putting this horse in a stake. Now, I looked at the stats, and the stats are probably misleading. They're really good, actually. Second-time starter in a stake, but it's all 2-year-olds, and with a good 2-year-old, you almost have to do that. You know what I mean? It's not even aggressive to run a 2-year-old second out in a stake. You almost have to. But still, I mean, the fact that he's done it, I just thought, I mean, this horse gave me a very nice visual.
Visually, he was super impressive.
Yeah,
he looked like $1 million on track. I mean, just. He's only worked 3 times since. You think is that enough?
It's an in Mott we trust for me, because these owners are not pushing him to run here. I think he's at a point in his career where he doesn't, I don't think Mott horses have owner picked spots. That's
for sure.
Yeah. I was talking about this with Sean Clancy on the early week show. And he, we talked about that, that concept. And it happens. I mean, it used to happen to him. Sean pointed out it used to happen to Mott with Zayat, but that was a strange and different time. And Mott, as great as he was then, I think now is just even in more of a, what's the phrase? There's some phrase about he's beyond concern about owner. I just don't think he'd want to train a horse where he couldn't pick exactly what the horse could do. I'll say it inarticulately that way rather than swear.
I think that was speaking of it, I think that was a absolutely horrible move to send that what's the name of the horse that John Sheriff's had that ran against
Baeza?
I think it's a horrible move to send the horse to Mott.
Well, I mean, unless they know something about Sovereignty that we don't know.
Well, that's true. Maybe that's the move.
It is weird, though, right, to put him against the horse that. I mean, that's the problem with so few trainers having so many good horses, and this is even worse in Europe than we have it, where you don't get to. They're obviously not going to want to knock heads against their own horses.
They're not going against one another. Maybe he thinks Baeza is going to be a turf horse. Maybe, I don't know.
Who knows? It'll be interesting to see what happens. That was sad news about Sheriffs. Did you deal with him at all in your time in California?
I've met him a few times. Super nice guy.
Yeah,
super nice. I mean, like he'll talk to you and like just like your anybody, and great nice guy. That's all I knew. I didn't know him that well, but yeah. Can't say anything bad.
You can't find anyone who will. I should have, Sean knew him decently, and I had him on, and I forgot to ask. So host fail there. We'll talk to Sean about his memories when he comes back. So in terms of the picks that I'm going to send around to our In the Money Plus people, how do you want me to write this down for you? You can
last race 7 on top, 4-6 underneath.
Okay, that's how I wrote it. Yeah, for me, I'm going to mess around. I'm going to mess around 6 and 7 here and see what we can get away with. Would you mentioned Jackson Hole, but ultimately siding against?
Yeah, I'm saying it's, the horse I would probably throw in trifectas would be Bull by the Horns.
Ooh.
I thought he just visually worked really good. It had
Interesting.
nothing to do with the form, just workout alone. I thought he really, really worked well on February, I think it was 15th.
Interesting. That'll shake up the world. I mean, this horse hasn't hit a 70 yet on buyer, so you got to figure even with Safi, you're looking at 20, 30, 40 to 1. So you
Well, if you look,
light
if you
things
just
up.
throw if you kind of throw the Tampa race off the form, he's 70 as a 2-year-old, so maybe he can hit 90, maybe.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, you've got faster numbers than buyer, so that's good info too. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Great stuff as ever, Duke. Anything else? Anything on your mind you want to express before we send this thing home?
No, it's great. Just again, you guys check out the site. Come join hopefully you come join the live stream tomorrow on the Rebel. I mean, that'd be, come join Pete and me, and we'll try to help you out for the Rebel. I mean, we'll have a good time anyway, and you'll learn a lot of stuff. So, I mean, that site, dukespicks.com. It's PICKS, by the way. I guess there's another Duke, some kind of Duke's pick out there or something.
Oh, geez.
I don't know what it is.
I'll start remembering to spell it or pop a graphic up on screen. We don't want to send people.
Imagine there's somebody else selling something that Duke's picks. I should have chose a different thing because I didn't want picks anyway, but I figured that was the easiest way to get.
It's easy to remember. Yeah. I mean, and there are picks. It's not inaccurate, but yeah, no. Duke's picks. Use that promo code ITM10. Duke's PICKS. Duke, great having you here. Really looking forward to talking to you tomorrow night on the live stream where we'll go over all things Rebel. Make sure you subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our YouTube exclusive content. I know that more than half of you watching are not subscribed, which is wild. And it's something you can do that's free that can really help us out. If you want even more content from our side of things, check out our In the Money Plus service. We're going to have a really cool Kentucky Derby package. Excited to talk to you, Duke, about what you're going to be doing for the Derby. We'll get to that on a future appearance.
We'll talk about that soon.
Excellent. All right, we'll leave it here for now. Thanks so much to our founding partners at 10 Strike Racing, our charity partners at Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. This show's been a production of In the Money Media. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatel. May you win all your photos.